So the question from Don Wasson is the majority leader of the North Carolina House willing to openly debate his position? And what
No,
was the
my
other?
question is, are they willing to openly debate?
I think these two men are, we know that answer.
There's a message in my madness, Rocco.
Okay, and who's the other organization, North Carolina?
And if they are agreeable to it, then I want, it's a public, yes, we are agreeable to it.
Yes, I'll
this
agree.
afternoon.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
agree.
Then I want the people here as witnesses to email me that they've heard this. So as I present it to Skip Stam, NCILC, Tom Tillis, WRAL, and another TV station, that will be presented, and maybe that they will be agreeable to a public debate to keep away from the controversy of where they stand.
But Don, also, not just one party, I mean, it's anybody on the D side too. It's because when we get back to our motto as the American, E pluribus unum, from many come one, that's crucial, from many come one. Not one come many, from many come one. Keep our Italian heritage, your African heritage, your Hispanic heritage, because that's what makes America phenomenal. That a metal is stronger when it's an alloy. When we mix these metals together, we're stronger. Our freedom and liberty are stronger. The Statue of Liberty is changed or breaking from the European system you talked about. That's what the chains are breaking from to come here. So there's no more divisive stuff. We're not D's or R's. Okay, we're Americans. Now, and North Carolinians first, Americans second. And if those things are explicitly discussed and held to, then everybody prospers. I'm talking not financially, it may be, it may not be, but the idea of liberty. Because if we're not willing to fight for freedom and liberty now, what are we willing to fight for?
See, the small group that we have here this afternoon is great, but we need the masses to see this difference and make their mind up.
Well, I mean, we both are on the radio, so is Rocco. So we're not saying something here because there's 30, 40 people here and that's it. I
understand that, but I want to use it for a...
We're not the ones saying our white paper stands for it or this stands for this. I mean, I hate saying if I'm right or Dr. Dan's right. I know I mumbled my words, but all I read was quotes from our guys who signed the contract. I have an attorney sitting right here. The idea of who the party of the contract is, the ones who signed it. This is the example Hamilton used. Was a trustee. I have a will. John's my trustee. I drop dead, and he has money to take care of my kids. Now he decides to do something with the money. His fiduciary responsibility would put him in jail. That's the example they used. They were servants. That's why Franklin wanted them not paid. But the problem with that was you'd only get the elite. You wouldn't get the farmers, the guys who did not have the money. And Henry wanted them paid by the state legislators. And one side note to that, everybody laughs at this, and I had a state legislator laugh at me during a debate in Greenville about this, about the 17th Amendment, that the state legislators were supposed to pick the senators. And he went all over me on this, like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I quoted Federal Paper 62, 63, 64. I quoted another one, Samuel Johnson, Governor Samuel Johnson, 1780 North Carolina. He said, let me get this straight. So if the federal government ever usurps their power, and we bring our senator over to the Capitol, we bring them home, and the federal government dissolves. I'm in. See, this House is the state's house, the people's house. And the Senate was the state's ambassadors. That's federalism. And that went away with the 17th Amendment.
Bottom line is that we were formed as a union of states. I mean, that's really it. And we all understand that. And you're right, we are preaching to the choir in this room. But that concept is key to understanding where we've gone wrong. Because once you are no longer a union of states, then you have a tyranny above the people and above the states. And that's what we cannot allow to stand.
I have a question. We're hiring people to take an oath to do a function. If you hire me, Diane, to be your surgeon, and I never trained or didn't know what I was doing, would you hire me? See, because even if I am trained, would you even hire me? No, you could hire Greg, there's McDonald's, there's Taco, there's a bunch. You have the free market dictate to a point. This point right here.
But if I hire you, I'd be stuck with you.
Exactly. but the thing about this is, but we have people that swear the oath to the Constitution, and then you ask them questions, and they go right to this. General for clause, necessary proper clause, supremacy clause, elasticity of these things, implied powers. They'll quote Marshall. I love quoting Marshall because the 1803 Mayberry case, he twisted because in 1788, in the Virginia Convention, he was asked by Henry about implied powers and who's supreme. And at the convention, to get Virginia to vote, he said no. There's no implied powers. The supremacy clause is only supreme for things that are pursued in the clause. And the vote was still only by 5 votes. Virginia passed it, and they were the 10th, not the 9th. So, because men are fallible and they make mistakes, or they hide things or change their opinion, but to get that thing passed, Chief Justice Marshall, who was appointed by Jefferson, this makes no sense, but you have to look back at what they did at that 2-year time to convince the Americans at the state conventions. Think about that, state conventions, not the state legislators, the state conventions. The conventions, we can get one in North Carolina because the people can form one. It's different than the legislator, guys. Understand, they went to the people to get that thing passed, not the legislators to get it passed. Big difference.
And to just clarify, then, both men agreed to openly debate Representative Stam, who is the majority leader. We are not picking upon our own party. Those 3 of us here are Republicans, but they are in the majority in the North Carolina General Legislature.